The Monkees, the album Headquarters, an album that not only redefined the band, but also helped reshape how we thought about pop music and artist authenticity in the late 60s. By 1967, the Monkees were widely known as their sort of manufactured band, a cast for a TV show, backed by top-tier session musicians and largely dismissed by critics as a commercial product. But Headquarters, their third album, changed everything. This was the first time that the band took full creative control. They played their own instruments, wrote a good chunk of the material, and oversaw the production process alongside a producer, Chip Douglas. It was their declaration of independence. Musically, Headquarters blends, sunshine pop, folk rock, early psychedelic touches. Tracks like You Told Me and For Pete's Sake, which would later become the closing theme to the show, showcase not just catchy hooks, but a band genuinely finding its own voice. There's a looseness to the performances, not always perfect, but always full of heart. You can hear their excitement in finally being in the driver's seat. And one of the most compelling things about this album is how it reflects the growing trends of the 70s of bands pushing for more creative control. The Monkees aren't alone. The Beatles were in the Sgt. Pepper era. The Beach Boys had their, just drop pet sounds, and artists everywhere were breaking away from the old studio system. But for a band like the Monkees, born out of television casting called to fight for and to win the anonymity that was absolutely radical, Headquarters hit number 1 on the Billboard charts, briefly dethroned only by Sgt. Pepper, of course. That shows just how massive the Beatles' audience was and how much people responded to their evolution. Critically, this album really helped shift the perception of the band. It showed that the Monkees were more than just, actors lip-syncing or pre-recorded hits. They were a real band with real talent, and Headquarters was their way of proving that to the world. In a lot of ways, Headquarters is the underdog story of the 60s pop. It's the sound of a group fighting to be taken seriously and actually pulling it off. So next time you hear someone brush off the Monkees as just the TV band, point them to Headquarters. It's raw, it's joyful, and it's revolutionary in its own way. This is where the Monkees stopped being a project and started being a band. I love this album. I have this weird thing about the Monkees. I love them. Check out they had a made-for-TV movie for VH1. I think it's called Daydream Believer, and it goes behind the scene. It's like a story about the Monkees and how they were in a casting call, actors, bands, how they went through this process of being an actual band. And even there's one moment where they try to have Jimi Hendrix as their opening act while they're on tour. Dude, you have to check this out if you haven't. You're not going to believe it. Check it out. Let me know what you think.